night, but I especially enjoy when those young men get up here. And they're so well trained and so well behaved, and so they do a great job. They do better, put the rest of us to shame. That's really good. Open your Bibles to Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7. When Becky was pretty small, but she still remembers this to this day, she was in her backyard hanging on the swing set that they had in their backyard. I don't know if people still have swing sets or not, but typically it was kind of like an A shaped on the sides with a crossbar, and she's hanging on that with her legs, her knees over that crossbar upside down. And Becky was pretty active, and she got to wondering to herself, I wonder what would happen if I just let go. And she let go. And she found out real quickly what happened. Bob, do you remember that? Bob remembers that, yeah. Children do some pretty foolish things. I remember when I don't know exactly how old I was, but I do know I was under 5 because of where we were living at the time. At some age under 5. But we went swimming at our neighbor's farm, and they had a pond there, and they had these inner tubes there. Now, for you young people, probably don't know what an inner tube is. It used to be inside of tires. They had to put this big rubber balloon kind of like thing, and they kept those filled with air, and that's how your tires stayed up and things. So kids would like to use those to go swimming with, and so since I didn't know how to swim, they told me to use this inner tube. So I've got a hold of the inner tube. I'm in the middle of this pond, and I'm feeling safe because I'm right here in the middle of this inner tube. So I'm safe, right? I've got the inner tube around me. So I let go. I didn't know you had to hold on to it, and went to the bottom of the pond, and luckily somebody saw me and pulled me out. But kids do foolish things. We're children. But unfortunately, even adults do foolish things. Sometimes downright sinful. And certainly all sin is foolish because we're hurting ourselves. We're destroying our relationship with God. When I was at Freed Hardeman in the famous Paul Gray dorm, there was a young man there, and every once in a while somebody would make a run to a little city nearby called Jack's Creek, where there's a famous barbecue pit on the weekends, and bring back barbecue sandwiches for everybody. We'd get orders, and they would always send back these large cups of real hot barbecue sauce. Well, somebody had the bright idea of offering $5 to the courageous guy that would drink that cup of barbecue sauce right down, that really extra hot barbecue sauce. Well, being foolish as we are, we can't pass up a challenge. It wasn't me. And I didn't offer the $5 either, but there was this big guy, and he said, I'll do it. And he took that cup, and he gulped down that hot barbecue sauce. And it was like watching a cartoon. You've seen on cartoons when people get red. And he actually got red little, but you could see it getting all the way up to the top of his head until he went into a convulsion. And we had to rush him to the emergency room in Jackson, which cost him a lot more than $5 that he made from that. But that was foolish. Maybe it wasn't sinful, but it certainly was foolish. Well, Jesus talks about people being foolish in Matthew chapter 7, beginning at verse 21. He says, everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed against that house. And it fell, and great was its fall. Now, if you've ever done a little bit of building, you know that you have to have a good foundation. That's the most important part. You can have a wonderful house, but with a poor foundation, it's not going to be worth much. It's going to be a disaster. And Jesus says that if we hear his words and we don't act upon them, if we don't obey him, we're being foolish like this man that built an elaborate house on sand, on a foundation that was at best temporary, that wouldn't stand up against the difficulties and stresses that would weather against it. Typically, we end our sermons, our lessons, with what we call an invitation. And it's just a special time that we offer the congregation, visitors, anybody that needs spiritual help. We just invite you to come forward, and if you need prayers of forgiveness, or if you want to offer prayers of thankfulness, or maybe you're not a Christian, you want to become a Christian, it's just a really good time. And we're going to stand, we're going to sing this song, number 61, to encourage you. Let's stand.
The voice of the Savior says, go, the cross